Oi, eu sou o Ronaldo Lemos e esse é o Expresso Futuro. A gente está aqui em Nova York e vai falar hoje de relacionamentos no mundo digital.
What could be a public space suddenly becomes private as you engage in a private chat with somebody you meet online. Or you could be at a bar that's presumably a straight bar, and then suddenly in your phone, you have access to a space that's a gay space.
I am just as much of an advocate for building healthy habits with these technologies as I am breaking unhealthy habits. So the first question to ask yourself is this technology serving me, or am I serving the technology?
I go online,
Welcome.
and my breath catches in my chest until I hear 3 little words.
You got mail.
What is going on with you?
Is it infidelity if you're involved with someone on email?
Você aí já namorou pela internet? Eu acho que sim, né? Uma pesquisa recente dos Estados Unidos mostrou que 1/3 das pessoas que se casam tiveram seu relacionamento em algum momento passando pela internet. E mais do que isso, aquela coisa de conhecer alguém pela rede, que antes parecia pejorativa ou até assim, meio coisa de quem estava desesperado, hoje mudou completamente. 59% das pessoas acham que conhecer alguém pela internet é algo positivo. Agora, entre a faixa de 18 a 24 anos, que é a faixa mais importante, né, das pessoas que estão mais antenadas, houve um crescimento de 10% para 27% de pessoas que usam a internet para conhecer alguém. Mas tem muita gente que fica só na conversa mesmo, né? Fica lá, trocando mensagens, conversando, porque um estudo recente também nos Estados Unidos mostrou que 1/3 só das pessoas acabam marcando um encontro efetivo. Então, 2/3 das pessoas ficam só no blá blá blá, aquela coisa meio platônica e não vai para frente. Então, tem também esse outro lado, que o relacionamento pela internet é fácil de começar, mas é difícil de evoluir, às vezes muito difícil até.
I think things move faster now. If I don't like you, then I'll find someone else online. So like people don't have to be as like involved and like serious, if that makes sense, because things just move quickly now.
I think it kind of shows that we're becoming less and less social creatures.
I use Tinder personally. I use it not to find sex, which a lot of people do use it for that solely, but I just like meeting people.
It's more of just something I do when I'm bored.
Vamos falar agora com a Rachel Katz. Ela é pesquisadora da Universidade de Manchester e está fazendo um trabalho super interessante para entender o impacto dessas redes de paquera sobre as nossas vidas.
A lot of people think dating apps are inherently superficial because they're image-based and there's the reputation created through popular journalism that they're for sex, essentially. My data shows that it's not true in practice, that people do use them for sex, but that's not the only reason, and many of them don't use that for sex as well. In practice, it seems like people want to be liked for who they are, so they want a flattering image, but one that still accurately reflects their physical appearance, because they don't want to go on a date and have somebody say, "Oh, you look nothing like your profile, I don't like you." They are looking for a connection or love or attraction in terms of a sexual relationship, or sometimes they're just lonely and they want to have someone to talk to online. They never intend to meet anyone. And they also want to have a profile that seems very effortless. So they want to have like, oh, they're just so authentically funny naturally. There's no evidence that they spend a lot of time figuring out what they want their tagline to be, or that they spend a lot of time choosing which images.
Teve um estudo recente da Universidade de Queen Mary, lá em Londres, que descobriu o seguinte: os homens e as mulheres têm comportamentos distintos nos aplicativos de paquera. Os homens têm uma tendência de dar like, né, e procurar um match com basicamente todos os perfis de mulheres que aparecem para eles, né? Então, basicamente, o cara fica lá e fica dizendo que ele gostou de todo mundo. Já as mulheres têm uma tendência a dar o like, né, o match, a selecionar somente pessoas com quem elas realmente têm interesse. E aí, a diferença é que cada homem só consegue ter um match com alguém, ou seja, encontrar alguém que tope conversar com ele, em cada 0,6% curtidas que ele der num perfil de outra pessoa. Já as mulheres, como são muito mais, vamos dizer, seletivas nesses aplicativos, de acordo com esse estudo, conseguem um match, né, achar alguém que pode se relacionar com ela a cada 10% de curtidas com outras pessoas.
So now Tinder knows that if you swipe right too much per hour or too many times in a row per hour, it'll block you from swiping again for like an hour or a certain amount of period because it notices that you're abusing the system. But it used to not be that way. So it was common that people did that. But then again, if everybody did that, then maybe the dating app wouldn't be very fun anymore because the whole idea of only matching with someone who likes you back wouldn't work. And then people would maybe move to another dating app. So that's why they intervened, probably. Dating apps potentially could be very positive in terms of redefining roles in courtship. So it's kind of less socially frightening to say on your profile or on a dating app, I'm interested in a relationship. Because then people can kind of filter you out and you can filter people out without any consequence. As opposed to kind of saying it in real life where people perceive it as the odd thing to do or kind of too much pressure upon like a normal, natural interaction. Some people said a reason they like dating apps is because they considered it to be a self-esteem boost. It's nice to get a lot of interest and you only see the interest but you don't see the rejection, which is another reason why people like the swiping mechanism of dating apps because you don't know if somebody didn't like you back.
People don't ask each other out that often anymore. Instead of like organically meeting people, like per se you're in the same class at school or something, or you just sort of like see someone across the bar, it doesn't happen as often. A lot of times people will use Tinder to actually get a date because it's hard to do so anymore. Most people only go on real dates through dating apps, you know what I'm saying? Like people, otherwise like dates kind of don't happen.
Pretty much everybody around us is using those apps. And sometimes it's working out.
Yeah, I've heard from some people that they had some like good experiences. One of my friends met her boyfriend on Tinder, so yeah.
The people who like want to get into something serious, I think there's also people who are just like, I'm just gonna scroll, you know, I'm just gonna be on here. Like I have people I know who are just like, oh, I just like swiping, you know? Half the time it's like kind of just a mindless swipe. Like I do it when I'm bored, like it's validation, it's easy like to, I don't know, it makes you feel better, but then it's like very empty. It's like really weird. It's like watching TV and sitting on your couch.
E você aí, já se sentiu meio viciado em internet, tentando diminuir a quantidade de tempo que você passa no celular ou na rede e não conseguiu? Pois é, esse é um comportamento que está ficando cada vez mais normal. E muitas vezes ele acontece não por sua causa, mas porque há profissionais chamados de engenheiros do comportamento que têm a função exatamente de desenvolver produtos que capturam cada vez mais a nossa atenção e geram uma espécie de compulsão para você utilizar cada vez mais aquele serviço. A gente vai conversar agora com Nir Eyal. Ele é um especialista justamente no design de produtos para manter a gente cada vez mais fisgado. Aliás, esse é o nome do livro dele, Hooked, que significa exatamente essa capacidade de capturar e prender a nossa atenção.
It's impossible to separate the things that make a technology good and fun and interesting to use and things that make it potentially addictive. You can't decouple the two. The same reason that when you pass by a bakery and the food looks so good and so tempting. It's because the food is so good that some people go overboard, some people overconsume, some people are even addicted to the food. But of course, you can't only blame the baker for making delicious food. That's his job. He wants to make food that's good to eat. So there's only one reason that we use any product or service, not just technology products. All products and services are used for only one reason, and that's to modulate our mood. That's what all products are for. That's what we use even the people around us for, is to make us feel something different. When we feel lonely, we look for a friend, we look for a colleague, we look for someone to make us feel better. Now, the age we live in, we have such access to so many products and services that many times it's faster, quicker, more efficient, easier to turn to a specific product. And that's nothing new, right? Humans have struggled with boredom forever. And we live in an age where there are more opportunities to alleviate boredom than we've ever had before. And it's only by understanding how these products work, by understanding that it's not by accident that these products are so engaging, it's by design that we can break these hooks, that we can break these bad habits. All we have to do, number one, is remove the triggers. In America, 2/3 of Americans never adjust their notification settings. That's crazy. Take 15 minutes, go to your phone settings, and stop the notifications from all the apps that you don't want to bother you all day, right? It shouldn't be the app maker that interrupts you. You should want to go to that app and check it if it's useful to you, instead of all these pings and rings and buzzes all day long. That's the first thing you can do. Remove the triggers.
Tem vários estudos que mostram que se você alimentar um pombo de forma alternada, ou seja, se você só der comida para o pombo quando ele puxa uma alavanca de vez em quando, o pombo começa a ficar absolutamente desesperado e puxar a alavanca da forma cada vez mais obcecada possível. Isso é uma programação natural que os animais, inclusive a gente, tem. Então, tem estudos que mostram que vários produtos da internet estão sendo desenhados para repetir esse comportamento. É o comportamento da chamada recompensa esporádica. Você já entrou na sua rede social e tinha um botãozinho vermelho ali indicando que tinha mensagem para você? Aposto que você não resistiu, foi lá clicar. Só que de vez em quando tem mensagem interessante e de vez em quando tem mensagem que não serve para absolutamente nada. Essa é a tal da recompensa esporádica. Como você não sabe se o que vai estar lá é bom ou não, você fica clicando no botãozinho vermelho o tempo inteiro para ver que tipo de mensagem está lá. Parece um pouquinho com os pombos, não parece?
People use these products because they want social connection. I mean, what are people doing on Snapchat? What are people doing on Facebook? They're connecting with other people. And remember, today in America, the average American spends 5 hours a day watching TV. That's what they do all day. 5 hours a day on average watching television. So if it's watching television mindlessly, or whether it's interacting interactively on Facebook or Snapchat, I would much rather have people interacting with other human beings than sitting there mindlessly watching a screen. These devices do us so much good that we have forgotten what it used to be like without them. And so we haven't practiced what life is like without them. It's not that different from if tomorrow all the transportation in New York City shut down. This would cause a lot of anxiety. But of course, 150, 200 years ago, there was no public transportation. There was no subway, there was no Uber, there was no taxi cabs everywhere. People just figured out how to live. So it's because we've been trained with these habits to have things so easy, to have them taken away is suddenly very difficult. The way human beings have lived for 200,000 years is with small tribes of about 150 people, where you know everybody and everybody knows you. So what these technologies are doing are connecting people over vast distances in a way that feels more natural to the way they expect what we need psychologically, which is to stay connected with our friends. Now, I'm not saying it's always perfect. There are, of course, negative consequences. One of them being that the fact that we have these friends in our pockets means that maybe we're less likely to meet new friends because that's difficult to do, right? So we need to acknowledge that that is a cost. But of course, the benefit is that when we want to talk to our parents, to our siblings, to our best friends growing up, we can connect with them. So I think that's going to continue. I mean, I'll give you a perfect example. My daughter, my 8-year-old daughter, talks to her 4 grandparents over Skype every single day, even though they live thousands of miles away. Now, it's hard for me to figure out why that would be a bad thing, right? She has a close relationship with her grandparents that I never had growing up because we didn't have these technologies, because to call thousands of miles away costs a ton of money. So, we say, "Hi, Grandma, nice to see you, bye." Well, she doesn't have to do that. She can see them over Skype in video in real time, and she has a great relationship with them because of these technologies.
A facilidade de encontrar pessoas pela internet corresponde também a uma facilidade de se livrar delas. Isso tem feito com que haja o surgimento de novos tipos de comportamento, por exemplo, o chamado ghosting. Ghost, em inglês, significa fantasma. E é exatamente isso que acontece com muita gente que paquera na internet. Quando a pessoa fica desinteressada, ela vira um fantasma e desaparece completamente. Então, o hábito de fazer ghosting, que é você dispensar uma pessoa sem avisar para ela, sem dizer absolutamente nada, não mandar nenhuma mensagem, simplesmente parar de se comunicar com aquela pessoa, está se tornando uma espécie de epidemia.
People are interested in like having superficial relationships with people, whether it's actually like a romantic relationship or even friendships. Like I can have that happen. I've had that happen even with friends, where it's like, you know, no one wants to commit to like doing anything in particular.
It's low commitment, so it's low risk to stop texting someone. And there's so many excuses you can make too, like, oh, sorry, my phone died.
You don't have to be serious when you're just texting because you don't know the real person, so you can just disappear and you don't care what happens to the other person because you don't know them.
I don't like hurting people's feelings, and it's hard to like look someone in the face and like reject them. So it's just easier to block them and like you never hear from them, and it's kind of a clear conscience because you don't see their facial expression when they like actually get the text or whatever.
Eu acho que, no mínimo, as pessoas teriam que ter uma ética nesses novos relacionamentos para pelo menos avisar a outra pessoa que você não está mais interessado nela. Outro comportamento que não é nada legal é chamado de breadcrumbing. Em inglês, esse termo significa você atirar pedacinhos de pão, numa espécie de João e Maria, para atrair a outra pessoa para fazer alguma coisa que você quer. Ou seja, ludibriar a pessoa achando que você vai dar alguma coisa importante para ela e, na verdade, você não vai dar nada. Então, o breadcrumbing nos relacionamentos pessoais é quando o homem ou a mulher fica dando sinais de interesse para outra pessoa, mas na verdade ele não quer nada, ele quer só manter a outra pessoa interessada. Isso é um tipo de comportamento abusivo, porque, por exemplo, um ex-namorado ou uma ex-namorada pode usar esse tipo de estratégia para manter a pessoa com que ela não está mais sob o seu controle. Isso, na verdade, não é nada legal. A gente vai falar agora com a Emily Witz. Ela é autora do livro Future Sex, o futuro do sexo, onde ela descreve uma série de mudanças nos costumes e relacionamentos a partir da perspectiva das mulheres.
One thing about my research was most of the time I was actually spending with people that were pursuing sexuality outside of any model of dating or partnership. I interviewed some people that use live webcams, not just in a financial way to earn money, but also to have anonymous sexual encounters with people. Sure, it wasn't physical sex, but it still allowed them, I don't know, a possibility of exploration. One woman called it mass intimacy. First, there was a big technological change that made it easier to meet people, it made it easier to find community, whereas before people might have been isolated. And it is true that, you know, we have more exposure to sexual imagery than ever before in human history. You can communicate and meet with people faster. You can just open up your phone and meet somebody at a bar if you live in a big city within an hour or two. The experience of sexuality is increasingly mediated. It's increasingly done through screens, and that changes things too. One person that I spoke with identified as internet sexual, which meant her primary mode of sexual expression was on the internet, and she preferred that to a physical sexual life. And I think more people, as the technology for interacting with people becomes better and you can have a more tactile experience via virtual reality or these connected sex toys, that some people will prefer that mode of interaction.
Agora, quem diria que o feminismo ajudou a salvar os aplicativos de paquera? Vou explicar por quê. Quando os aplicativos surgiram, o que acontecia é que toda mulher que entrava para procurar um parceiro pela rede era imediatamente assediada por um grande número de homens e, na maioria dos casos, sem que ela tivesse qualquer interesse em qualquer um deles. Então, era uma situação muito difícil para a mulher para paquerar online. E o que mudou? O que mudou foi que a nova geração de aplicativos, como o Tinder, por exemplo, ou Happn e vários outros que são super populares, colocam a mulher no centro das decisões. Ou seja, a mulher só pode conversar com alguém que ela realmente tenha escolhido para bater um papo. Então não é que você pode chegar lá no aplicativo e basicamente conversar com quem você quiser. Tem que ter um acordo mútuo entre as partes. Quando ambas as partes decidirem, aí sim a conversa acontece. Isso cortou pela raiz o problema do assédio, ou seja, o aplicativo ficou muito mais tranquilo para mulheres participarem, evitando que elas fossem simplesmente soterradas por pedidos e mensagens vindos de homens procurando alguém.
The internet dating companies from the very beginning of internet dating realized that attracting women was the most difficult part of their business, and also that women were, in a way, the most important customers. Men would just sign up in droves, but to get women to sign up, the companies realized they needed to make the space feel really friendly, use a white background instead of a black background, make sure that a woman could block really sexually explicit imagery. If it's a heterosexual dating site, the experience of women is the most important ingredient, really, for a successful dating app. Humans are just internally wired to want physical proximity and physical contact with other people. So yeah, I think everybody knows how it feels when you want some attention from your partner and he's looking at his phone or looking at Facebook. It's boring and it's not nourishing. That kind of interaction doesn't seem to nourish you the way that going out to dinner or spending time together, walking around in a park or something, it doesn't fill you in the same way, at least me, I don't know.
O desafio de pensar os relacionamentos na internet é que cada grupo de pessoas vai ter uma dinâmica diferente. Então, não importa se você é gay, se você é hétero, e aquilo muda completamente a sua relação com outras pessoas mediadas pela tecnologia. A questão é, a gente está num mundo em que as redes sociais e essas novas ferramentas permitem que você conheça pessoas que você jamais conheceria de outras formas. Agora, é muito importante estar aberto para o novo. Tem muita gente que fica na internet procurando alguém que seja parecido com a própria pessoa, procurando alguém que tenha os mesmos gostos, que ouça as mesmas músicas, ou seja, algo que mata um pouco a ideia de diversidade. Eu acho que se você estiver aberto para a diversidade, para conhecer gente diferente, você pode encontrar pessoas muito legais e ter excelentes surpresas na paquera da internet. Então fique aberto que você pode ser surpreendido com as possibilidades. É isso, gente. Expresso Futuro volta na semana que vem. Um abraço.